Hey everybody, this is Todd Rogers from ToddRogersPhotography.com. I had a friend send me a few shots she's been struggling with, and this is going to be a little part of a series about basic Lightroom techniques that I like to use, share with people, make the whole Lightroom experience a little more comfortable for everybody. It's the best program that's out there as far as imaging software, and I'm trying to convince my friend of that. So I'm going to slow it down and do some basic things right now for you, and we'll go from there. We'll see how it turns out. I think you'll find out it's a lot easier than you think it is. So I brought the photo in from the folder on the desktop. Brought the photo in. Good, nice looking photo. A little bit underexposed. No big deal. It's an easy fix. Now the first, you'll see at this top panel, the basic panel right here on the right. I don't mess with the temperature, the tint, exposure, or contrast. Not right off the bat, anyways. I consider those tweaking, development module. What's important though is I go to in the second little box here where it has highlights, shadows, whites, and blacks. I always take that cursor from the highlights and I drag it all the way down. Close some highlights down, brought a little bit of the blue. You can still tell there's a little bit of sky there, but we'll keep tweaking that sky as we go along. Shadows, I like to, because this is dark down in here, the leaves, the underside of his belly, and underside of his wings and stuff. They're a little bit caught in the shade and not that well developed. So I like to pull the slider over to the right, open those shadows right up, and see now you got some detail that popped out in there. One of the crucial things that I always do to every single image that I bring in is I check my white and my black points. I do that by just placing my mouse cursor right on the slider, press Alt, and push whites to the right until you start seeing a little bit of color coming through. Just like that, you're good. You found a nice white point. You go to black point, you do the same thing. Cursor on the slider, hit Alt, slide to the left until you see a little bit of color down there. Take your finger off. Now you're in business. We'll move down, still in the basic panel. We'll move down to the presence, which is clarity. I like the shot to have a little bit of clarity, especially a wildlife shot. To me, clarity and contrast are the two same. A contrast is gonna, let me show you. I'm gonna put clarity back to 0. You can do that by double clicking on the number on the right hand side, just hitting 0 so you can go back to where it was. And then let's play with contrast, and you'll see what I'm saying. Contrast darkens almost everything. See that? It darkens almost everything. So I'll make a late adjustment with contrast if I feel it needs it. So once again, I'll just double click on the plus minus bar over here. I'm going to hit 0, bring that back to, bring that back to 0, so we're not messing with that. And then I will go back to clarity, and I will give clarity a little color because clarity is just right now working on the bird, not on anything else. So let's move down a little farther into the panels here. You're looking at tone curve. Tone curve is fantastic, mainly used, in my opinion, for landscapes. Makes houses, fields, flowers. That really accentuates, and it works best, in my opinion, is where tone curve works. But right now, I assume we can probably use a little bit of it here because we're still working all our way down through to bring that sky back in. So I'm going to work with highlights here and crush the highlights back down to minus 100. Take my lights up slightly, not too much, because I don't really want to blow that sky out, but I want to keep it from being underexposed too. So I'm just going to push the lights a little bit to the right. Darks, we're going to open up more. I think darks will be okay right there. Shadows, I think we took care of most of the shadow issues at the top, but I guess it doesn't hurt to tweak it just a hair. And then we will move down to, now up in the basic panel, I give it a little clarity. Vibrance you can give a little, but I'm not crazy about vibrance because it makes some things too vibrant and can make the photo end up looking kind of fake. Saturation, I don't mess with saturation at all. I would just as soon come down on the right hand side with these panels and go to my hue, saturation, and luminance panel. This breaks out the colors individually, and I would rather do that. You can make luminosity mask in Photoshop, but it's a bit tedious to do that. It's work. This does it here for you. Right now I'm looking at, there's yellow in the beak, and there's a little bit of yellow under his wing there. There's some yellow highlights you can see. So I'm going to push the yellow up, emphasize that yellow a little bit. I'm going to mix in a little orange because there is some orange in there with his talons, and yeah, and plus that accentuates the yellow just a little bit more. And because we're not done tweaking that sky yet, we're going to push a little more blue into it. And green. Let's see what it's going to make the trees look like here. Should I take some out? Should I add a little green? Let's add a little green. I think that looks okay. Yeah, about plus 20. How about we go plus 20? I think that looks okay. Now, split toning kind of works the same as tone curve. I really find it works best in landscape atmosphere and in a landscape image. But once again, I told you we'd be working our way down the panels with this guy, trying to do something with it. So I'm going to take the hue and I'm going to push it up into the blue section. Now that's not going to do anything until you hit saturation. So I'm hit right up in the blue areas, the blues. Then I'm going to take saturation and go. And that's putting in, yeah, there we go. It's drawing the sky in nice. It's blue. The reason I love this function so much is because, like we said with the top slider, it's not going to do anything to the photo until you stop in the color area that you want to be in. Then you take your saturation, and it does it for you. I mean, you're fine tuning the color in that area that you selected. So I love how it works. Shadows, I think we're okay with shadows on this. I just see a few. It's nothing terrible. I mean, I'll try it. I'll push it up into a little bit of green and maybe bring out a little more of that tree. There we go. Yeah, that looks good. So we're in our detail panel, which is our sharpening and noise reduction. Now I like to take it like the tack button, and I'll double click that a couple times. And especially when I'm doing a wildlife shot, I like to click somewhere close to the eye. Let's get a little bit of the eye and the beak. Yeah, that'll be all right. And I have 100 number formula for sharpening and noise reduction. Sharpening, I'm going to take up just about 80. Okay, it looks pretty good. And by taking that up that far, it's introduced some noise in there. We can go down here to, in the same little panel here, we can go to masking. You're going to hold your cursor right on the slider, hit and hold Alt down, push that to the right, and then everything that is black won't be sharpened. Let me show you again here. Everything that's black won't be sharpened, which is cool. There's no sky there to sharpen. And the trees, we've sharpened what we want to sharpen on it. So then we'll get, we're going to mess with some noise reduction, push that up to about 20. Do a remove chromatic aberration, which I'll cover in the next video. Initial profile, it allows you to set up for your brand of your camera and your lens type. So let's just go with that. It pops